Forget gurus. Forget anyone claiming to be an online business expert without going through the challenges of entrepreneurship themselves. The Real Money, Real Business podcast is here to prove the best insights in online business comes from your fellow online business builders. We dig into stories of entrepreneurs selling their business on the Empire Flippers marketplace so that you can learn how they made their business profitable, how they overcame obstacles, and what lessons they learned in their online journey. If you want to take your business and your knowledge to the next level, you've come to the right podcast. Let's get started.
Hey everyone, welcome to another episode of the Real Money, Real Business podcast. We record these interviews so potential buyers have more information about the seller and the business to help them make a buying decision. And just before we dive in, let me go over a very brief summary of the business today. It is an Amazon FBA, affiliate, e-commerce, and Amazon Associates business created in July 2018 in the bed and bath niche. The average monthly revenue for the business is $10,149, and it makes an average of $2,980 per month in net profit. The assets included in the sale are the Amazon Seller Central account with 4 SKUs, a primary domain and all of the site's contents and files, 2 secondary domains, a 301 redirect, supplier relationships, social media accounts, a pending trademark. Please note that inventory isn't normally included in the listing price and further details can be provided to active buyers. And for everyone listening, you can visit empireflippers.com/marketplace, search for listing 58109 to learn more about the business. Or you can unlock the listing to start your due diligence if you're interested in purchasing this asset. So that's a very top level overview of the business. Let's hear from the seller. Ben, welcome to the show. How are you doing?
Doing well, thank you.
Awesome. Can you share with me what your background is in building or running online businesses?
Sure. So I've been in this quite a long time. I started in an SEO consulting firm back in 2001. We were doing work for Fortune 500 clients back when that was something that hardly anybody knew about. And shortly thereafter, I started up and ran their paid search division until after their acquisition. They ultimately got owned by Dentsu and oversaw a considerable amount of client spend there. And then after that, became a senior publisher for well over a decade selling ads. So on both sides of the ad buying equation. And over that past decade, I've also bought, built, and sold websites just as side projects.
Right. So you've definitely got a lot of experience under your belt there. Given the past, well, like you said, your first kind of gig sounds like it was in 2001, I believe you just said. Can you share with me, were there any resources as you were learning about the industry, as you were in the heart of it? Because obviously it's evolved over time. Was there anyone that sort of inspired you along your entrepreneurial journey?
Yeah, so I've been a member of some really excellent communities over that time, going way back, but more recently, the ones that are, still around, like Authority Hacker Pro. I've been a member of that since the very early days of that one. I think that's a very solid community for folks doing this kind of work. Matt Diggity, I follow his stuff. He's always got super tactical stuff that's very helpful. And probably lesser known a little bit is a guy named Eric Lantris. He's also like just a top flight SEO guy, has a great community, and I consider him kind of like a secret weapon on the SEO side.
Thanks for sharing those tips. Definitely useful resources for people new and old to this industry. Can you share with me briefly how you came up with the idea to start this business in particular?
Sure. So I had a pretty high traffic site that was in a natural health niche. I got destroyed pretty much in the Medic update. And before that destruction, I had a bunch of different review pages on the site, some of which did pretty well. And so I was testing at the time, moving up the value chain by trying to own and operate some of the products that were selling well in those reviews, right? Just to get beyond the Amazon commission that I was taking in on those. So that's how I got into it in the first place, is just that it was kind of built out of the wreckage of a large site that got hit in the Medic update.
Gotcha. Right. Okay. That explains why I guess you initially chose the niche. Like you said, you were kind of in the medical niche, but it was good though. It sounds like you managed to pivot away from that and, like you say, salvage what you could to turn it into the business it is today. I guess speaking of that, I noticed that it is monetized through several different ways. Can you just share with me, how does the business make money primarily?
Sure. So, it's pretty much a standard Amazon FBA business, right? E-commerce is definitely the core of it. probably way too late, but recently expanded to a Shopify site. And that's like the secondary mechanism. And then I also have an affiliate site, has a review that drives people into the product as well. So that extra piece I think is pretty valuable because it produces some, high intent buyers, people pretty low in the funnel looking for these products, and directs them into this product. And it also directs people to other products as well and makes affiliate commissions on those. So the purpose that it serves here is, you can drive ads into the affiliate site and it will self-liquidate the cost of those ads plus some. And you could even, my original intention was actually just to liquidate the cost of the ads and drive more sales volume. As it turns out, it's so profitable that it makes money each month, although certainly you could spend more on advertising if you wanted to. But it's a nice little extra lead gen piece to have on top of this e-commerce piece.
Gotcha. So yeah, sounds great that you've managed to diversify the revenue streams along the way. Then why are you selling the business right now instead of staying with it and growing it?
So the biggest reason is just that I have another project that is small but growing pretty quickly, and it's in the crypto niche. And so it's just something that I kind of need to jump on and take as far as it will go. So that's really the big reason.
Yeah, that makes sense. Yeah, I mean, the crypto niche is exploding, especially with what's happening in the metaverse as well and all the moves there. So that makes sense that you're spending more time in that sort of niche and industry for sure. I just want to ask you about the operations side of this business then. When you were building it, was there anything that you found just really worked for you?
Yeah. So, I mean, the picking of the niche, I think, is the big one, really. I think made all the difference. So people can get hung up on that and picking a niche that is going to work, that has enough capacity and isn't too competitive and so forth. Because I had this site already that was already generating affiliate commissions for me, I could see exactly what worked, right? So it was like a cheat code for the whole setup. I was just able to say, this is exactly the product that I know is going to work because it's already working for me.
Gotcha. Kind of sounds like you got it right from the start, really, like picking the niche and knowing what's in demand there.
Right. I had that historical data that allowed me to just know what the answer was.
Gotcha. So I suppose on the side of the coin then, was there anything that you tried that didn't really work for you?
Yes, I would say there's something I've been trying at a low level that hasn't worked yet, although I'm convinced that it's actually the path towards, if you're going to 2, 5, 10x growth from here, I think this is a product that solves problems that a large number of people have. And your sales could dramatically increase if people were aware of it as a solution, but I think they're largely not aware of it as a solution. So some better copywriting, some landing page testing would probably be able to kind of move up that awareness funnel and capture a lot more purchasers, get more people into the top of the funnel. I think that is something that would be significant to unlock, but I have not unlocked yet.
Gotcha. Yeah, it definitely sounds like some growth opportunities there, and we'll touch upon that more further on. I want to ask you, what's your tech stack like? Was there any software or tools that really helped you when you were scaling the business?
In terms of software, I pretty much use off-the-rack stuff. For the affiliate side, I use WordPress. I use all of Amazon's standard stock tools, and then just the ad networks. I don't use any kind of layers on top of the ad network. So it's really just a pretty basic, off-the-shelf set of tools that I work with.
Okay, that makes sense. That's good to know. Let me ask you about your traffic then. Where does the majority of your traffic for the Amazon store come from?
So it's mostly organic Amazon traffic. It's just people who are already on Amazon. I also do run Amazon ads. And then for the affiliate sites, I have Google and Microsoft traffic going to those currently. The affiliate site and the Shopify site also get organic SEO traffic. The Shopify site's very new, so it doesn't get a lot of that, but it is super promising because those things usually take time on the SEO front. And this Shopify site kind of jumped right out there and started ranking on a couple of keywords that are pretty qualified immediately. And it looks like from GA, I've gotten a couple sales from that already. So there's a fair bit of promise on that front.
Well, that's awesome. Yeah, I think that's really great that you managed to generate a lot of that traffic organically, especially Amazon's search engine. The A9 algorithm can be a bit tricky at best to try and figure out. So that sounds great. I guess I want to ask you on a day-to-day or even a weekly basis, can you describe what's the type of work that you do to maintain the business?
Yeah, sure. So it is, basically I'll make a new order from the supplier. That's like a 10-minute job. When the inventory gets to me, I'll repackage it and send it out. That's probably by volume most of the work that I do. It doesn't happen that often. It's, twice a month, 3 times at most, and often will be less than that. Just depends on the time of year. And that takes me like 45 minutes to an hour to repackage and send that back out. I mean, aside from that, it's really just like monitoring the sales and the ad performance, which can take like a minute a day or something.
Right. Okay. So it sounds like it's really hands off then, the operations right now.
Yeah, I've really got it to a place where it is, as close as it can be to autopilot. And that's really just based on my time constraints. I have not had personally a lot of time, put into it myself. So I got it to a place where it's, can be done on very minimal time.
No, that's great. Yeah. Can you just briefly share with me then what are some of the ways that you've outsourced it and whether that can be transferred over to the buyer?
It's really just more about the process that I have. Like, I don't have any other people involved in it. So if there's something that needs to be done, like return in Shopify that needs to be filled or something, I've been doing that. Like I say, I haven't had the Shopify site very long, so that hasn't historically factored much into my time. But, and bookkeeping, I guess. I had people work on my bookkeeping at times. But aside from that, I've just got it down to that flow where, I just order the product, I get it in there, and all the other pieces that you would normally have to work on, to tinker with it and get it just to the right place in terms of like making the ads work, making sure they're profitable. There's different types of ads running here in this situation with the affiliate site. There's a few things going on here, but I've got it all to where it just works, right? And so someone else could pick it up and just do what I do, or actually you could involve a 3PL provider and outsource the most time consuming part of the process, which is just repackaging the inventory. And if you did that, then it would be a very hands-off operation. Just really, you'd be looking at the sales charts and making sure things are going in the direction you want, and looking at the ads and making sure it's broken. But even that, is not that much, right? I maybe take a look at the Amazon ads, a couple times a month, and the Google ads more often because that's higher volume with the affiliate site. But still, it's just very light lift right now.
Well, yeah, I mean, that's some next level organizational skills you've got there if you've managed to get any e-com business running to this level of efficiency. So kudos to you. Yeah. For the new owner, what would you say are some of the essential skills they would need to have in order to be successful with this business to, really hit the ground running from day one?
Sure. So I say, starting from scratch, there would be a lot. If you had to start this business all over again, there's a lot of skills that go into running an e-commerce business, and then, a separate set of skills that go into running an affiliate site. And that's kind of all woven in here at this point. But picking it up from this stage and moving forward, I think it would mostly be about a couple of things. So one would be optimizing for efficiency of the business, right? Like, there is a lot of juice left in this lemon. So if you're a person who likes to get into that, who likes to try to figure out how to save money on the products, how to, run things more efficiently, how to squeeze money out by paying less on shipping, all that kind of stuff. There's a lot of meat on the bone for stuff like that, because this business is currently optimized for my personal convenience, not for squeezing out the maximum profit. So there are a lot of opportunities for that. And also on the marketing front, like the one that I mentioned earlier about like moving up the awareness funnel. I think that if someone's interested in that, if you have skills in copywriting, in marketing, in running ads, those are all great skills that you could flex here. I will say that I don't think you need any of that to run this business. So you could take the opposite tack and say, I'm just going to keep the product in stock and lightly monitor the ads, and you'd have a very close to autopilot situation. So if that's what you wanted and you just wanted to run it like that, that would also work.
Got it. And I think you answered kind of my next question that I was going to ask you, which was really, what would you say are the major opportunities for growth? I think you kind of alluded to it throughout the interview. You mentioned about, improving CRO, better copywriting. And yeah, like you said, just other things as well to try and really squeeze, like you said, this lemon. Still a lot of mileage left with this business, right?
Yeah, exactly. Actually, I'll just run through some more of those here. I can give you some more specifics on that front. So I currently only sell in the US. So I get customer inquiries from Canada, people, that I have to turn away. It would be pretty easy to expand to other Amazon marketplaces in other countries. So that's a pretty straightforward one. Also, the Shopify portion, the Shopify site is brand new. It needs more content. It needs better content. It's pretty bare bones. Like you say, it's CRO. It converts a lot better than it does. And it does have that SEO promise that's really completely unfulfilled almost right now. And there are lots of paths for expanding the product set, right? You can get, and I could tell you exactly where to get, slightly cheaper or more expensive versions as upsells or downsells from the current version of the product. It can be expanded easily to more sizes. You could expand to readily adjacent products from the same supplier. There's just a lot of room for product expansion if you want to do that. And like I mentioned just a few minutes ago, there's lots of ways to optimize for profitability. You could test more ad sources for the affiliate review pages. They convert pretty well as they are. So expansion should be easier than average if you wanted to do that. And then, of course, the whole running advertorial ads, maybe on Facebook and other places to move up the awareness funnel, get more leads coming into the top. I think those are the real big areas for growth.
Yeah, lots of avenue for growth. And like you're saying, the way the business is currently set up is for your convenience, because you don't have the bandwidth really to grow it. But definitely sounds like there's lots of ways to expand. I guess there's always going to be risk in running a business, though. What would you say are the biggest risks with this business that a buyer should be aware of?
Sure. So, supply chain disruption, which will shock no one, I guess. But I've been concerned about this for a while. I've been looking around other suppliers, and there definitely are some who provide, very similar products at similar prices. And the supplier that I've always used has been absolutely rock solid during the pandemic, during more recent supply chain problems. It's just never been a problem at all, not on availability and not on timing. However, I'd be crazy not to cite that as a concern because it is one. The quality control is another thing. I haven't had a lot of problems on this front, but it is something you do have to keep an eye on all the time because, small issues on that front can quickly turn into bigger ones at Amazon with their, restrictions. Like they just have a lot of rules about, how happy they want their customers to be. So you have to always be careful of what Amazon thinks of you. And I guess the product is priced and positioned more at the luxury end of the scale. I guess the larger macroeconomic environment matters. Those are really the big ones, I guess.
Yeah, that makes sense. I've just got a final few questions here as we're rounding off the interview. How much support are you willing to offer buyers?
I'd set out, 2 1-hour Skype calls, and I could be negotiable on that front. If someone is on the newer end of the scale, I could give them more help than that if they need it. I want someone to be able to completely take over and maximize this and get a ton of value out of it. And I think there's a ton of value to be had. So whoever picks it up, I want to do what I can to ensure that they're successful with it.
It's great to hear. Are you willing to commit to a non-compete?
Yes.
And are you open to something like an earnout?
I think I'd prefer a full cash offer. For the right buyer, we could discuss something like that, but my preference would be full cash.
Yeah, okay, understand. Last question from me then, Ben. If you put yourself in the shoes of a buyer, why would you say this is a business worth buying?
Because it's really just beginning to hit its stride. And I think in the future, I could probably make the case to myself that I'm selling this too early, but I need to strike while the iron's hot on this other project that is really trend driven and getting some traction at an early stage. So it's a tough call, really. But I think that, that's the potential here for the buyer. There's just a lot of optimization to be done on the business. I consider it a situation where there's low hanging fruit for miles. So the right person could pick it up and do a lot with it, I think.
For sure. Is there anything you'd like to add that you think I might have missed?
Yeah, as I was thinking through in retrospect about how, how I've gotten the business down to be relatively low work, I think the key to that is really that it's just one product, right? So there are 4 SKUs in this case, but those are variations like sizes and colors of the same thing. But just having it all be one product, and I'm just dealing with the one supplier and reordering the same product, and that kind of flow is how I got it down to where it is. And I think that is really critical. If there were 15 or 50 different products, then I would have a very different business, a different set of time constraints on my hands. But just being that one product allowed me to get it down to a place where it's pretty passive.
Awesome. Well, Ben, thank you so much for joining me on today's call. Really looking forward to see your business get picked up by the right buyer very soon.
Great. Me too. Thanks, Vinny.
All right, everyone. Thanks for listening. To learn more and see if this listing has already been sold, head over to empireflippers.com/marketplace and search for listing number 58109. If you're watching this on YouTube, click the link in the description to go straight to the listing. And once you've unlocked the listing, you'll be given everything you need to know about this business. So until next time, enjoy your digital journey.